So actually, we as a consumer, we don't
Are you
really know
aware
about
of the
it.
average per unit?
All of you are kings and queens in your own home with your own throne, and you can sit up and decide and let the business continue to woo you.
Welcome to another episode of Consumer Voice. This is the in-house program of the Consumer Protection Council, CPC, that tells you all about your rights as a consumer and what to do whenever you feel they have been breached. Today, we're discussing food labeling, what you need to know. To discuss this, I have an expert from the Consumer Protection Council, the Director, Quality Assurance and Development. You can expect an enlightening episode. Still on the program are our usual segments. But first, we'll take a short break, and when we return, we'll go straight to our discussion segments. Stay with us.
Usually I would check, but I wasn't checking before until I had an issue where I bought a processed food only to get home to find out that the expiry date was just a day to the day I bought it. So since then, I usually will stop and check before purchasing any processed food. I would like to tell consumers to always be careful to check the date the product was processed and then the date it's going to expire, because sometimes you just take a product off the shelf only to get home to find out that it has already expired, or the shelf life is not going to be enough for you, assuming you're going to keep the food for some time. So it's always good to check the best before date and then the manufacturing date before you purchase the product.
Food labeling, that's a big issue, because like for instance, the other day I bought coleslaw from one of the shops only to realize that it was a day old, outdated, and it was because I didn't see the label properly. It wasn't until I got home and now tasted it. So if not for knowing coleslaw properly, I wouldn't have known that it was some people would have consumed it or not. But I think they ought to label. I think that's it. Please, if you can talk to most of these companies, labeling is a big aspect. I think that we can work on. I think maybe if the government can put something into legislature to like enforce not just small labeling, like proper labeling where you can see things clearly, I think that will help.
Food labeling in Nigeria for now, we don't really follow it because they will say it will expire next month. Already it has expired, but some really follow up. Once they say it's next year, it will really be like in cream too. They also say don't use this cream, so it's like this time and this time. So it's really helping in some aspect, and in some aspect it's not really encouraging.
It's good to check food labeling. If you don't check, you end up being a victim of hospital. That is joke apart. It's very, very necessary, especially, we humans. We need, let me say, alkaline food. Why I put alkaline food is, just for example, things they use in preparing fried rice. This corn, whatever, if you don't check the expiring dates and use it to cook, tell me, what will become of you? To me, I will advise people should check the labeling, the company that produced them, and then when they produce it and when it will expire.
If I buy a lot of product, okay, I look about the name, the brand first, then most times out of maybe in a hurry, I don't look at the expiring date or whatever, but sometimes I do check the expiring date.
Most of the things I check is expiring date. Honestly, that's the only thing I check. Most of them in terms of food items. So like some of those soft drinks, once I check this expiring date, and it's what I want, I like, but I snap that number. Yeah, I skip it sometimes, but I know it's very, very necessary. It's the main thing. Yeah.
To what I know about food labeling, it has to do with the details of the food content we're about to consume. So just that most of the food items you find in the market today are not even well labeled. You find out that what you're looking for is different from what is the content of the food you buy. Honestly, I don't go through food labeling. If I see what I want, I just pick and I pay.
Now I need to check it because I need to check the expiring dates, one, and check the content of the food. I would have been a victim of, I bought one drug that time, not knowing the drug has expired. I didn't check the expiring date. It would have resulted to another problem. So it has a good value, checking it.
In fact, for me, let me be frank with you, I don't check. I only check those receipts when you give guarantee. When you write it, you write it, they say, okay, 1 year guarantee. But checking other, I don't check food labels. I don't check.
First of all, I check the expiring dates. Then check if there is NAFDAC approval on some canned food like that to know whether the food is expired so that it will not affect my health.
The only thing I know about food labeling is any packaged food of a thing, the production dates, expiring date, that's the manufacturing date, whatever, the details, and the NAFDAC registration number there. Then mostly I check the content. With any good we are going to consume, we have to check to know what we have to take. Sure, you understand? Because you know one thing about this consumption of a thing, what you are most usually those that we eat or drink. The moment you take it in, sure you understand. That is all. So if you don't check before you take it in, then you're on your own. Sure you understand? So that is why you have to take care. I mean, to be careful, to check all those things before you can consume them.
Welcome back. Today I have with me in the studio the Director, Quality Assurance and Development Department here at the CPC, Mr. Emmanuel Amlai. Welcome to the program, sir.
Thank you very much.
It's a delight having you.
Thank you very much.
We're discussing food labeling today, and who better in the CPC than yourself?
Yes.
So I think the very first question that we should talk about is the significance of food labeling. Why is that important for the consumer? What is the significance of food labeling?
So I will start by describing what is called food. Food is any nutritious substance that humans or animals eat or drink, and plants themselves absorb for their life and growth. So food is very important. Labeling is the information that the consumer needs to have for him to purchase or patronize a particular product or food. So it's a kind of set of information that is inscribed on that particular food that makes him to patronize it, to give him an informed choice, to give him that information that make him to choose that kind of food he wants to buy. You know, information is power. With that power he has, he's empowered now to choose the right food he wants to eat, so he doesn't make mistakes in eating something that he doesn't know much about. Okay. So labeling is important. And labeling also empowers us to trace, in case there's an issue with this particular product you bought or food you bought, you can trace back to where the source of the food came from. So is the information provided that we make an informed choice for any food you patronize.
Okay, so for health reasons,
yes,
for information, for choice.
For choice.
Okay.
For safety.
Talking about information, what sort of information should be contained on a very basic food label?
First of all, you should have the name of the food. Because if you don't know the name, you can't know what you're buying. You should have the name and address of the manufacturer